Hello, and thanks for joining us for this special edition of Cronkite News. I'm Dana Lewandowski. Cronkite News is committed to bringing you reports on the consumer beat. And tonight, we look at some of our top stories on protecting the health and the livelihood of Arizonans statewide.
Well, the flu is on the rise in Arizona. Reporter Janie Hoyt breaks down the numbers and tells us how to keep yourself healthy this season.
Last year, Arizona had a banner year for flu.
You may think with our warmer temperatures, we'd have less flu cases than other parts of the country, but that's not the case.
We had more cases in Arizona than most of the country saw last year. So in that sense, Arizona had the worst flu season than the rest of the country last year.
And we're on track to have another, quote, banner year for flu. According to data from the Arizona Department of Health Services, the current season total is about 300 cases higher than last season's numbers recorded around this time last year.
Flu is a really unpredictable virus, and every year the flu behaves a little bit differently.
There are several ways to prevent yourself from getting the flu this year. The Arizona Department of Health Services does recommend getting your flu shot every year to avoid getting sick. They also recommend to wipe down any surfaces that may be contaminated, wash your hands frequently, and if you do end up getting the flu this year, to stay home to avoid getting anyone else sick. Emergency physician John McGreevy says it's not too late to get your vaccination.
And even though we've already started seeing the flu this year, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get vaccinated, as we'll continue to see the flu now for the next several months.
According to the Arizona Emergency Information Network, Arizona's flu season typically lasts from October until May, so it's important to keep yourself healthy year-round. In Phoenix, Janie Hoyt, Cronkite News.
Arizona may not have a law against texting and driving, but two organizations have partnered to find a common route to safer driving. Cronkite News reporter Danielle Cronkite found out it may start with yoga.
Thomas Wheeler breathes deep, balancing his 1-year-old Helena. Her safety always top of mind.
Having kids, you want to protect them.
So he's taking time to focus and better handle his morning commute.
Making sure that they're aware of being safe was a huge thing for me.
Exhale, crawl your hands to the back of your mat forward.
Allstate Insurance and Core Power Yoga say they've come up with a strategy to lower Arizona's distracted driving rates, which, according to Arizona's Department of Transportation, caused nearly 100,000 accidents in 2015.
Phones ringing, texts buzzing, and some tempting social media feeds. So it can be difficult to stay focused behind the wheel, and yoga can actually help us be more mindful drivers.
Arizona does have a handheld phone ban, but it applies only to school bus drivers, and even that doesn't ban texting.
And knowing that we need to put them away while we're driving is really important.
The National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health says yoga can reduce blood pressure and relieve anxiety.
As you practice yoga, you understand being kind to yourself, nonviolence toward yourself, and that also is while on the road as well.
Finnan says a yoga class teaches patience that can be applied to driving.
And you're probably less likely to cut your neighbor off or be on your phone, and you just embrace the energy that you've cultivated through your practice.
Wheeler says that yoga creates a mood that already helps to calm his 1-year-old.
Say hi. Bye-bye. Not bye-bye, say hi.
In Phoenix, Danielle Kernkamp, Cronkite News.
The Arizona Department of Health Services is inviting new employees to work, but it's not who you might expect. Cronkite News reporter Alexa Stukrath shows us how babies are improving productivity.
This may seem like your typical work environment. However, one new trend is changing the ordinary for some Arizona government employees.
I think it's been a really great opportunity to be able to bring her into work. She's been a good contributor to our team.
6-month-old Caitlin is at work every day with her dad, letting them bond more frequently than if she was at an outside daycare.
Having the interaction with her, having that one-on-one time is beneficial for us.
And Caitlin isn't the only baby rolling around. 3-month-old Beckham also joins her mother at work.
The thought of having to not have her with me when my maternity leave ended, it would have been so much to be able to handle.
However, having these babies at work isn't all naps and playtime.
How am I going to make sure she has everything she needs, but how am I also going to make sure that my job has everything that I need to do? And getting those things both in order, I think, is definitely hard work.
We coordinate nap time, feedings, and diaper changes between my meetings.
These babies bring a unique dynamic to the workplace.
And you could see the office dynamics change. People are happier, workplace morale increases when there's the baby around.
It brings out these things in people that is just so neat to see.
Sadly, these babies don't get to stay forever.
Babies up until 6 months, they mostly sleep. And so, they're not very active, they're not mobile. At about 6 months is when we've noticed that that's when it's harder to continue to do the job while the baby's still at work.
Which means Caitlin will be graduating from the program soon.
She's going to be retiring next week, and I think it's going to be a transition for me at least.
And she will be missed by all. In Phoenix, Alexis Ducraft, Cronkite News.
Many parents put their children to sleep by reading bedtime stories, and some even choose stories in another language. Cronkite News reporter Kaylee Nassif tells us about a Phoenix mom who started a business supplying children's books available in Spanish.
Vanessa Nielsen is an avid reader. When she found out she was having her first child, she knew she would want to read to her baby.
And we knew that we wanted our kids to be bilingual, so the first thing I did as a big reader was look for books in Spanish.
So she started her search, both online and at her local library.
So the Spanish language collection is actually very robust. We have a collection at every single location.
But Nielsen wanted more books that were originally written in Spanish or that had better translations.
I thought it would be awesome if somebody could just hand me a bunch of books so that I didn't have to spend my time reading a lot of Amazon reviews. And there wasn't anything like that, so I decided to be that person for other people and create a service.
That service is Soul Book Box, a subscription box that ships Spanish language books for children 7 and younger.
In every Soul Book Box, Vanessa handpicks the items that she puts inside. Every box includes a multitude of toys, and most importantly, the book.
Close to 30% of children and teens in Arizona speak a language other than English at home, according to the Center for Immigration Studies. But being able to read in a language is not the same as speaking it.
Reading is not just the spoken language transcribed. The language of a written text is significantly different in many ways.
Soul Book Box sent out their first orders just this month, but she is hopeful for the future.
It's hard to say where it'll go, but I'm really optimistic based on the response that we've seen so far.
And the response from our customers has been muy bueno. In Phoenix, Kaylee Nassif, Cronkite News.
Nielsen started Soul Book Box after she won a Univision Arizona competition for Hispanic entrepreneurs last November.
Some families in Phoenix already dealing with a Parkinson's diagnosis have an additional barrier to treatment. Chloe Ranshaw reports one center is taking a dual language approach to treating the disease.
My mom has been a singer, since she was little. She used to sing with her sister in Mexico, where she's from.
But 10 years ago, Karina Villalobos' singing slowed, and other activities receded after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a disease that affects movement in the central nervous system.
The world came on top of me. It was something terrible.
According to a study from the University of Missouri and the American Parkinson's Disease Association, Hispanics and whites develop the disease twice as often as blacks and Asians. But according to Claudia Martinez from the Muhammad Ali Parkinson Center in Phoenix, some Hispanics will face a language barrier as well.
So that's why we believe that it is very important not only to provide services for Latinos with Parkinson's, but also to educate the Hispanic community about this disease.
The program started small in 2007 to offer care to those diagnosed with Parkinson's, including support groups and education classes. But it's grown over the years to offer a cultural-specific approach for Hispanics, like painting workshops and a Spanish language choir.
We not only translate services, but we kind of reshape them and even develop new services.
People flock here to the center from places as far as Chihuahua, Mexico, so much that coordinators have turned to the internet to broadcast webinars to reach places even further.
It's important because you know what's coming, you know what stage they're on. And you know that if she freezes, it's okay because she's gonna keep moving in a little bit. And now she does this for fun.
Brendan says her mother is moving better and looking to improve her mobility even more on her own.
Pareciera que el destino me hiciera recordar.
She started writing poems to keep her handwriting skills strong.
The reason is my daughters, my family. It's everything.
fighting to maintain normalcy until a cure is found. In Phoenix, Chloe Ranshaw, Cronkite News.
You can help those affected by Parkinson's. On February 11th, the Parkinson Network of Arizona will host a marathon called Walk the Fight and Run the Distance to benefit the Muhammad Ali Parkinson's Center.
A Tempe bar is taking steps to protect customers against sexual assault and violence. Low Key Piano Bar is now offering angel shots to help keep customers out of uncomfortable situations. Reporter Canuck Ja has the details about this different way to ask for help.
Low Key Piano Bar in Tempe is the first to hang up signs in the women's restroom for the angel shot, a code of sorts that helps a bar goer out of an uncomfortable situation.
We look after every single person that's here. We do our best to make sure that the entire place is kept safe.
Ordering an angel shot is simple. If you order it neat, that means that you would like the bartender to have someone escort you to your car. If you order it with ice, that lets them know that they should call an Uber or a Lyft for you. And if you order it with lime, that lets them know that they should call the police and assist you immediately. Nicolette Davis says the angel shot gives women confidence to take control of the situation and adds a layer of discretion.
So it's much better if people are more discreet about their problems rather than cause a huge scene at the whole entire bar, because then it's not to be rude, but you're ruining other people's nights.
Lori Latham, a police officer turned self-defense expert, says the angel shot is a good start, but the key is to get loud.
I have interviewed hundreds, if not thousands, of women who have been sexually assaulted, and they knew they were in trouble. They knew they were in danger. And the number one reason why they didn't do anything is they didn't want to be rude. And so you're not going to ruin other people's nights. You're going to attract attention, and attention is what will save your life.
While the angel shot might not be a secret anymore, Walter, Davis, and Latham hope it will create awareness and make bars a safer place. In Tempe, Canuck Ja, Cronkite News.
You might have seen posts on social media about microblading. Many women are getting the procedure done to make their eyebrows look fuller. Reporter Janie Hoyt tells us more about the procedure and how to keep yourself safe.
Many say that the eyebrows are the frame of the face. More and more people want to achieve perfect eyebrows, so they're going under the needle.
Generally, microblading is small incisions into the skin, implanting pigment under the skin in the upper dermal layer. It's a really soft way of doing your eyebrows versus the former tattooing your eyebrows.
Client Erin Cook says the pain of microblading is minimal and it pays off.
So there's not a lot of pain, but it feels like someone's scraping your skin. I really, really like it. No regrets. Absolutely would do it again.
The process involves this tool that makes small simultaneous cuts to the skin, making hair-like incisions in the eyebrows. Once the procedure is over, Lavoie recommends keeping antibacterial ointment on the eyebrows for a few days to keep out any moisture and bacteria.
Going under the needle does come with risks, especially because microblading is not regulated in the state of Arizona.
I think that's a matter of maybe the regulatory board not having caught up with the popularity of it yet.
The Arizona State Board of Cosmetology requires anyone who performs microblading to post a sign saying that they do not regulate the procedure.
It's getting really popular, and with that comes a lot of fraud. There are a lot of people who can just go on Amazon, buy some needles, buy some pigment, and start doing it.
Lavoie advises clients to make sure their technician is qualified before getting the procedure done. In Phoenix, Janie Hoyt, Cronkite News.
Though it's not required, Lavoie recommends that estheticians take permanent makeup courses and blood-borne pathogen training before performing microblading on someone to lower the risk of infection. You've heard of food banks, but what about one with a drive-through? I visited a Tolleson elementary school to see how a mobile food bank works. Kaylor Miller doesn't spend his Saturday mornings the same way as a lot of other 19-year-olds. He's out at P.H. Gonzalez Elementary School at 6:30 a.m., loading up cars with food.
We try to find projects like this because people really do need that help. They really do.
The donations come from St. Mary's Food Bank, and with the help of volunteers, more than 300 families get loaded up with watermelon, orange juice, bread, chips, and more.
We want to make them healthy and strong so they could grow and be good citizens.
Laura Alvarez is the director of the event and says that she started the food bank to honor the school's cafeteria lady Stella Robles, who passed away from cancer last year.
Her name could keep on going and serving the community of Towson and the Phoenix area.
The mobile food bank takes place twice a month at P.H. Gonzalez Elementary School, and the cars start lining up before 7 a.m.
We're just so grateful that everybody's willing to come out and help us, and it's just so nice.
I like seeing people smile. I like when they come up and they see everybody helping and they smile.
Alvarez says she has anywhere from 25 to 40 volunteers each time, and they're all different ages.
It's seeing them happy. It's seeing them like they have hope for another day.
The next mobile food bank will take place on Saturday, February 11th.
You love them, you feed them, and they're part of your family. Too often, pets get lost or run away after a big storm. A vet in Baldwin Park, California tells Cronkite News reporter Lauren Negrete that the best safeguard is as small as a single grain of rice.
At Tender Loving Care Animal Hospital in Baldwin Park, this cat is not the happiest camper.
What's your kitty's name?
Baby.
Baby.
Baby is getting microchipped. It's a small device implanted near his shoulder blades.
It's a radio frequency transmitter. So basically, we have to scan it with the scanner, and it emits a frequency, and it has a specific number implanted and a unique number to that animal.
Save This Life microchips are searchable on Google. So someone who's found a pet can Google the chip number, fill out a form, then the owner is contacted with email and text alerts. The procedure is quick, a little uncomfortable, but according to Casillas, not painful.
So we kind of just take the skin back here, and we go ahead and we implant it, and then we shoot it in there, and then we pull it out, and then that's it.
The veterinarian here at Tender Loving Care Animal Hospital encourages pet owners to get their loved ones microchipped. He says it saves lives and gives owners a peace of mind. Jacqueline Ochoa's cat is just one of the 400 to 500 pets TLC microchips every year.
In case my cat gets lost or somebody down the street decides to pick them up and they don't know whose cat it is, at least they can take it to the pound and they can microchip them.
Ochoa, who's lost a cat before, knows that won't happen again with Baby. In Baldwin Park, Lauren Negrete, Cronkite News.
What happens when the GPS you rely on for accurate navigation gives you faulty information? Trevor Fay went to Flagstaff to speak with the man in charge of rescuing people who have been the victims of alternate routes.
Choosing the shortest time versus the shortest route on your GPS could keep you from getting stranded.
We're noticing more and more that we're dealing with GPS-related search and rescue incidents, not only in Flagstaff, but around Page and the Grand Canyon. And a lot of that we think is due to the way the GPS is set. In the course of 2 days, we had two kind of tour bus incidents, which we are attributing to GPS kind of navigation errors.
Those tourists tried to take a forest road when State Route 64 closed due to heavy snow near the Grand Canyon, recommended by their GPS. They got stuck and had to be towed out. The Coconino County Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue Division is fully equipped with just about every kind of all-terrain vehicle, from jet skis to Humvees and everything in between. But the Arizona Department of Transportation has some advice so that hopefully you won't need a rescue.
We just want to advise people, when the GPS recommends a route, just to stop and think and use your common sense about where it's asking you to go. Your best bet would be to stick to the main roads, stick to the paved roads, the main highways, things like that. Because that's where our snow plows are patrolling, they're plowing the roads. If you get stuck, that's where you're likely going to be found.
And check those road conditions before you head out on az511.gov. In Phoenix, Trevor Fay, Cronkite News.
When we think of Valentine's Day, we typically think of flowers, chocolate, and stuffed animals.
But for APS first responders, they think of bouquets of balloons causing blackouts. Reporter Drew Marine explains how your gift might be more dangerous than lovable.
With Valentine's Day comes a warning from APS. Be careful with your balloons. When Mylar balloons come into contact with power lines, they can catch fire, taking out a fuse or breaker. Leader of the APS Public Safety Department, Randy Bowles, says they had an increase in balloon outages last year, leaving more than 55,000 customers in the dark.
We want to make sure that people that are, if they're getting their Mylar balloons, that we're not having them release them into the air, that they could get into our power lines.
During these incidents, first responder Todd Thompson's main concern is that everyone is out of harm's way.
If we have an emergency, of course, my first thing is to
make sure the public's safe, everybody else is safe, make sure we don't have anything energized.
Bowles says he encourages people to have fun and spend time with their loved ones this Valentine's Day, but to be cautious about where balloons end up.
So when you're buying Mylar balloons this Valentine's Day, make sure you're tethering them down and deflating them before you throw them away.
A small step to keep the power flowing. In Phoenix, Drew Marine, Cronkite News.
Remember, if you see something come into contact with a power line or notice a line is down, make sure to stay back and call 911.
The Maricopa County Animal Care and Control Center is striving to stop putting down dogs that already have homes. In 2014, the center euthanized more than 7,000 dogs. But last year, that number dropped to about 4,200. Reporter Nicole Gutierrez tells us how the problem isn't just strays.
In 2016, the Maricopa County Animal Care and Control Center took in more than 35,000 animals at their 2 intake facilities. Other jurisdictions don't have the shelter space, so all animals in question get redirected to these county shelters, and that's when tough decisions have to be made.
Got all these animals coming in, there's no kennels available. What do we do?
Melissa Gable says the Maricopa Animal Care and Control Center is an open admission shelter. They have to take any and all animals that show up at their doors.
Trying to do is refer to them as lost, because chances are any dog that may be a stray dog is probably a lost dog.
The Maricopa County Animal Control Center takes in 100 animals a day, and although they've decreased euthanizing animals, they want to keep the momentum going.
200 to 300 dogs a day getting lost out there. It's a lot.
And that's why Cindy Getz, president of Lost Dogs of Arizona, met with the shelter director and community groups in a town hall meeting last week.
So that's where we step in. I mean, that's what we do, right? So we can help Maricopa County Animal Care and Control network these dogs, work to find the owners, and try and get them out of the shelter and back home.
The shelter managed to reunite 4,500 lost pets with their owners last year, and that's just one of the strategies discussed to help keep the shelter euthanasia rate dropping.
I think in the past maybe we were hesitant to admit that maybe we've made some faults or mistakes, and maybe we didn't want to be vulnerable and say we need your help.
And with community initiatives to promote proper pet IDs and microchips, the hope is to save even more four-legged friends in the future. And pet owners that want to surrender their pets should know that there are other options beyond the county shelters. Many organizations like foster and rescue groups can rehome those animals. In the broadcast center, Nicole Gutierrez, Cronkite News.
In a push to save lives from skin cancer, the state legislature is considering a bill to ban minors from using tanning beds. A similar initiative was put into place in California 6 years ago. Cronkite News Los Angeles reporter Jelani Martinez has details on the impact there.
Perhaps it's not surprising that a state known for its natural sunshine and sandy beaches was one of the first to ban teens between 14 and 18 from using tanning devices with ultraviolet radiation.
From my standpoint, this is a phenomenal law, and it's something that I think is going to pay off in dividends for many, many years to come.
Dr. Ashley Wysong surgically removes skin cancer and reconstructs patients at USC's Keck Medical School.
It's a matter of how much ultraviolet exposure you get throughout your entire life. And so tumors that I would normally see in a 60-year-old, a 70-year-old, an 80-year-old, I'm now seeing in 20-somethings, early 30-somethings.
Businesses feared the law would mean less revenue, but the industry has simply adjusted.
It's pushed a lot of all the teenagers basically to do spray tanning versus UV tanning. Financially, it hasn't affected us at all.
While their image is greatly influenced by social media, it's not easy to convince millennials of the dangers of UV exposure.
We can say you're going to get another skin cancer, but again, people think it's not going to happen to me. But what's been really powerful is we've been using a UV reveal camera.
In a quick snap, the reveal imager can show me the UV damage that I otherwise wouldn't be able to see. And according to the American Academy of Dermatology, indoor tanning abuse is associated with a 75% increased risk in melanoma.
You know, I would really urge the citizens of Arizona to take this law seriously and to get out and vote. It's extremely important that we're protecting our young children from the dangers of ultraviolet radiation.
In Los Angeles, Jelani Martinez, Cronkite News.
There are other alternatives to achieving that perfect tan, like spray tans and tropical lotions. Just remember to find a healthy balance to enjoy the sun the safe way by finding the right sunscreen with at least an SPF rating of 30.
It's no secret that some consider this nation divided, but Phoenix community members are working to bring people together through art. I went down to Roosevelt Row this morning to learn more about painting for peace. In the heart of downtown Phoenix, early this morning, residents gathered outside to share a single message.
That we should love our neighbors and that we should be at peace. And I think that if we have the same message, why are we fighting?
The idea here was for anyone and everyone to write a prayer or a message of hope on the mural and then to paint over it so the message can stay with the mural forever.
So it's a kind of a community collaborated piece of what we all want for peace.
Many of the participants were hopeful that this event will bring positivity and happiness to the community and beyond.
So I hope that people recognize that we can come together and that there's humanity in each one of us.
Many of the messages consist of hope for peace within diversity and different cultures.
I wrote kindness, collaboration, and compromise. I painted over it with sea green. Green is one of the colors of Islam.
Actually, I wrote N-O Jesus equals N-O peace. K-N-O-W Jesus equals K-N-O-W peace.
These murals will be displayed at New City Studio tomorrow night.
Thanks for joining us for this special Consumer Beat edition of Cronkite News. For top stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org and follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
What are you doing? Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.